Why do I study all the time but never get better? You sit for hours, read all your notes, rewatch the lessons, but when it is time to use what you learned, your mind goes blank. Then you start doubting your own intelligence and comparing yourself to people who just skim through something and still remember everything. The truth is, most of us are not stupid or less smart. We are just learning in the wrong way. The real danger is this. The more you learn in the wrong way, the more you lose confidence, the more you feel useless, and little by little, you give up. If you keep using the same old method, forcing yourself to write everything down, memorizing by pressure, and feeling disappointed after every test, while other people, the ones who learn the right way, keep improving, remembering more, and growing every single day. That gap gets bigger, not because they are more intelligent, but because they understand themselves better than you do. But you can still change that. There is a way of learning that saves time, helps you remember deeply, and turns studying from a burden into something you actually enjoy. A way that is based on your natural style, not the fixed method that school forces on everyone. In this video, we will answer 2 questions: why you keep forgetting no matter how hard you try, and how to find a learning method that fits you so you can grow faster, learn better, and feel more confident than ever. If you ever felt like you are not good enough, this video might completely change the way you see yourself. Now let's start with the first part, the struggle with learning and the big misunderstanding that makes you think you are not good enough. Part 1. The struggle with learning and breaking the old myth. And this is not just your own feeling. According to data from the National Center for Education Statistics in the United States, more than 40% of students feel like studying is an endless battle filled with pressure from tests and grades. Sarah is a 16-year-old girl I once met. She always got low scores in math, even though she spent the whole evening trying to memorize formulas. But here is the interesting part. She can draw beautiful pictures and remember every small detail about color and layout. When I asked her, Sarah said, "When I look at formulas, I feel dizzy, but if I can draw them like a map or turn them into a story, I remember them right away." The problem was never that Sarah was bad at learning. She was just forced to learn in a way that did not match her natural style. And this is what millions of students are going through. Many people still believe that our brain is split into a left brain for logic and a right brain for creativity, and that you only belong to one side. Some videos even tell you that if you are not good at note-taking or analysis, then you are a right brain person. But modern science has already proven that the brain does not work like that. We all use both sides of the brain, but each person has a natural learning style, maybe more visual, more auditory, or more hands-on. The left brain or right brain idea is like believing you can only be good at one single sport. The truth is, you can be good at many things, as long as you learn in a way that fits you. In the United States, the education system with tests like the SAT and the ACT mostly rewards people who learn through writing and analysis. This works for some students, but it leaves students like Sarah, who love creativity and learning by doing, feeling left out. Meanwhile, in Finland, students learn through real-life projects and creative exploration. The American system often ignores the different ways people learn, and many students start believing they are not smart enough just because they do not fit the standard mold. A big mistake we all make is forcing ourselves to copy someone else's learning style. You see a friend with pretty notes and try to do the same, but 10 minutes later you forget everything. Or you try to memorize a dry page from a textbook, but your brain actually learns best through drawing or storytelling. This is like running a marathon with shoes that do not fit. You burn out before you even reach the finish line. Understanding your own learning style is the first step to turning studying from a heavy burden into something you actually enjoy. You are not less smart, you just have not found the right pair of shoes yet. In the next parts, we will explore how to discover your learning style and how to use it in real life. Whether you are in high school, in college, or learning new skills for work, we will figure out your learning style so you do not have to work hard in the wrong way anymore. Because many times, what blocks your progress is not your intelligence, but a myth about the human brain that has lasted for decades. Part 2. Moving past the left brain and right brain myth. Okay, we just broke the idea that you are bad at learning just because you are not getting good results. The problem is not you. The problem is that the way you learn might not match how your brain actually works. So how do you find the learning style that fits you? First, forget the whole left brain logic or right brain creativity story. Instead, let's look at the VARK model, a scientific way to understand how you learn best. VARK stands for visual, oral, read or write, and kinesthetic. These are not fixed labels, but learning preferences, researched by an educator named Neil Fleming back in the 1980s. Let's break each one down so you can see which one feels like you. First, the visual type. You learn best through images, charts, videos, or diagrams. Think about when you watch a history video on YouTube, like a documentary about the Battle of Gettysburg. The visuals help you remember every detail, even the names and timeline. According to VARK surveys, around 25 to 30% of learners in the United States prefer visual learning. I have a friend named Emma in Chicago who used to struggle with chemistry, but once she switched to colorful diagrams for the periodic table, her grade jumped from a C to an A in just one term. She told me, "I need to see things. If it is all text, I fall asleep." Next is the oral type. You remember better by listening, through podcasts, lectures, or group discussions. Maybe you listen to a TED Talk episode and later you can still repeat the key ideas. During the COVID pandemic, a lot of students realized they learn better through Zoom or educational podcasts like History Extra. This style works really well for language learners too, because hearing native speakers again and again helps build natural pronunciation. Then we have the read or write type. You learn by reading books, taking notes, or writing summaries. If you like turning lessons into your own words or reading detailed documents, this might be you. Standardized tests like the SAT or written essays often reveal this style. Back when I was a student, rewriting a summary in my own words was one of the easiest ways for me to remember things. And finally, the kinesthetic type. You learn best by doing, through hands-on practice, movement, or real-life activities. Instead of sitting still and reading, you need experiments, models, or physical movement while learning. This style is often ignored in traditional classrooms, which is why many active students feel like they don't fit in. According to VARK, around 30% of learners prefer kinesthetic learning, especially in fields like engineering or the arts. This also explains why so many people learn better outside the traditional classroom. But here is the important part. You should never force yourself into just one type, like only reading textbooks because you think that is the right way. Mixing methods usually works even better. Most of us are multimodal, meaning we use more than one style. Around 58% of learners fall into this group. Knowing your learning preference helps you learn smarter, whether you are in school, studying online, or training for your job. So ask yourself, do you enjoy watching videos, listening to podcasts, writing summaries, or practicing with your hands? Hold on to that thought, because in the next part, we will figure out which style fits you the most. Part 3. Finding your main learning style. When we say learning is not effective, the real problem is not the knowledge itself. It is the way your brain receives the information. Your brain is always sending signals, you just never learned how to notice them. You can often recognize your learning style not through a quiz, but through small, everyday habits. If you are visual, you remember images faster than words. You look at a diagram once and get it, but after 20 minutes of listening, you forget everything. Long pages of notes make you tired, but colors, symbols, and mind maps make your brain light up. If you are aural, you understand things best when you hear them. You do not like thick reading materials, but if someone explains it out loud, you get the main idea right away. You remember tone of voice and rhythm more than exact sentences. If you are read or write, you almost cannot learn without writing things down. The more you take notes, the deeper you understand. Textbooks do not scare you, they make you feel safe. Your brain likes words, structure, and repetition through writing. If you are kinesthetic, you cannot just sit still and listen. You need to try things to truly understand. You learn through movement, touch, and real experience. Touching or doing something helps you remember better than any page of text. The interesting part is that most of us were never taught to listen to these signals. Instead, we were told things like, memorize it, write it again, sit still and listen. But if your brain is visual or kinesthetic, being forced to learn like a read or write learner is like asking a fish to climb a tree. It is not failing. It is just in the wrong environment. The real question is not, what type am I? But is my brain asking for a different way of learning than the one I am being forced to use? Once you understand this, you realize something powerful. You are not bad at learning. You are just not learning in the way that matches your brain. Many people also misjudge their learning style because of social pressure. For example, parents or teachers usually encourage read or write learning, so visual or kinesthetic learners think they are doing it wrong. Or you try to copy your friends, but your brain needs a different method. This slowly kills motivation, and some people even give up on learning because they feel like they do not belong. Knowing your style does not just help you learn faster, it makes you more confident because now you know you are not learning wrong. Your brain is not fixed, you can train it to be more flexible. So make a mental note of which style you belong to, because in the next part, we will use it to choose the learning method that fits you best. Part 4. The common traps in traditional education and what actually works. Now that you know your learning style, you might wonder, then why do so many of us still struggle with learning? The answer lies in the way the education system is built. Traditional education, especially under policies like No Child Left Behind and Common Core, mainly focuses on standardized tests and reading or writing skills. This style may work for read or write learners, but it can feel like a nightmare for visual or kinesthetic learners. Today, we are going to break down some traps inside the traditional system and compare them with real-world examples that show you are not bad at learning. The system just was not designed for you. I once met a girl named Mia, a 10th grade student in Texas. Mia is an oral learner. She learns best through group discussion and listening. But in her history class, the teacher only used textbooks and essay writing. Mia tried her best, but she kept forgetting everything and started to believe she was not smart. Later, she joined a different history class that used storytelling and podcasts like The History Chicks. Suddenly, she remembered every detail about the American Revolution. Her grade jumped from a D to an A in just 1 month. Mia told me, "I did not know I could understand so much better just by listening to the story." Now, look at Finland, one of the top countries in education. Students there learn through real-life projects, like building history models or exploring nature, which fits kinesthetic and visual learners very well. Instead of only reading about the Cold War, Finnish students might recreate a real conference and act it out. The result? The dropout rate in Finland is only 0.5%, compared to about 5.2% in the United States. We can also see this difference in the workplace. Big companies in the United States, like Google, use the VARK model to train their employees. They use videos and even virtual reality to teach programming skills, which helps visual and kinesthetic learners learn faster. An internal study at Google showed that employees trained through personalized learning improved performance by about 25% compared to traditional training. This shows that businesses have already started adapting, while many schools still stay the same. The sad part is that many teachers and parents unintentionally push students to learn the wrong way, not because they want to force them, but because the system gives them only one standard method. Students also pressure themselves by copying their friends, like trying to take long notes even when they are actually oral learners. Over time, this leads to stress, low motivation, and the feeling that learning is a burden. So remember, the education system does not always work in your favor, but you can still adjust. Once you understand your own learning style, you can avoid these traps and learn more effectively, both in school and at work. Think about it. In your recent classes, did you feel like you were forced to learn in a way that did not fit you? Final part. Personalized learning strategies for each style. So how do you learn better in a way that actually fits who you are? Let's go through simple and practical strategies for each VARK style: visual, oral, read and write, and kinesthetic. Visual, learning with images. If you learn best through images, turn information into charts, mind maps, or videos. You can use tools like Canva or MindMeister to turn lessons into visuals. For example, when studying biology, instead of reading about the Krebs cycle from a textbook, watch an animated video on YouTube. A helpful tip is to use colorful highlights when taking notes and watch videos instead of only reading text. If you study online, turn on subtitles on videos to combine images and words. Oral, learning through sound. If you learn through listening, use podcasts, audio classes, or group discussion. Platforms like YouTube have many learning podcasts, such as The History Chicks for American history or Duolingo Spanish for language learning. You can also record your own notes and play them back while driving or walking. Try explaining what you learned to a friend, because speaking out loud helps your memory. If you study in a group, choose talking and discussion instead of only writing. Read and write. If you learn best by reading and writing, Focus on structured notes and writing summaries in your own words. Use tools like Notion to organize your notes in lists or tables. A good tip is to break content into small parts like problem, cause, result, and try to teach someone else through writing. If you learn online, read PDF documents and write side notes using apps like Adobe Acrobat. Kinesthetic, learning by doing. If you learn through doing, touching, or moving, find a way to interact with the thing you are learning. Tools like Tinkercad let you build 3D models for design classes, or you can use virtual reality to simulate science experiments. A simple trick is to walk while learning, like reading flashcards out loud in a park. You can also learn by building real projects, like making a small history model. If you study online, choose courses with real practice, such as coding directly on GitHub. If you are a mix of styles, like visual plus kinesthetic, feel free to mix strategies. For example, when learning history, draw a colorful timeline and then act out the event like a mini scene or short play. You do not need to study more. You just need to study smarter. Oprah Winfrey, who learns by listening and observing, once said, "Learning is the key to unlock your freedom." We have gone through the full journey of VARK learning styles, from understanding yourself to applying real strategies. But why does the right learning method matter so much? Because when you learn in a way that matches your style, great things happen. First, you save time. Instead of studying for 5 hours, then forgetting everything, you can learn in 2 hours and remember it clearly. Second, you build confidence. You stop thinking you are bad at learning and start seeing that you just needed the right method. And finally, the right way of learning opens career opportunities. A survey from LinkedIn shows that 70% of employers in the United States value applicants who can self-learn, and using VARK helps you build new skills faster, from coding to project management. A more confident version of you, mastering new skills and growing in your career. That is the power of learning the right way. Learning in your style does not just make you better in school, it also changes the way you see yourself and your future. It turns learning from a burden into a joy, and from a joy into long-term success. You do not need to be great like someone else. You only need to be great in your own way. Just start with one small step and start today. Right now, do this simple action. Pause the video, take a piece of paper, and write down your learning style. Then pick one strategy, like drawing a mind map if you are visual, or listening to a podcast if you are oral, and apply it in your next study session. It takes only 2 minutes to begin, but it can change the way you learn forever. Comment below with your learning style and which tip you will try. Your story might inspire someone else. And do not forget to subscribe for more practical learning tips. If you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, because everyone deserves to learn in the way that works for them.